What's up, party people? Hope you're having a great day. Yeah, I'm live early today because, I got home in time to watch this live, so I figured while I'm having my lunch, I'll fire up the old Streamerino and watch this live with you guys. Man. So how are you guys doing? My face will be on screen at 2:45. So if I excuse me for muting, but I don't want to eat in your guys' ears right now, as you can just hear. Got some Raising Cane's today. 10 out of 10. Would recommend. I'm going back to eating.
think that makes for a much more dynamic gameplay. Yeah.
That's a tricky balance to find for sure, because
Yeah.
PoE has grown increasingly difficult when it comes to sockets. I feel like back in the day it was like, oh, if you're playing a summoner, you're going to be lacking a lot of sockets. But now it feels like that's
Everyone.
the case on everything,
Literally every
100%
build.
of the time. So the previously teased system of having it be tied down to gems could be a pretty good solution. But who knows? It's been a long time. And in GGG fashion, they probably might have come up with something better, even better.
And a big problem that they identified before.
My mic was muted this whole time.
Gear lock-in, where it feels like you can't change
That
very much.
deserves.
Kind of always been a thing, and
That deserves that for me. W streamer.
have a little bit more freedom, a little bit more kind of breathing.
Anyway,
What we feel like we have with the skills now.
we're gonna be watching exilecon here
The game being dynamic.
because I love Path of Exile, and I want to see what they're coming out with for the new year. Maybe we'll see. We're hoping to see Path of Exile 2 get released. 1 second, let me just change by my food here. But we don't know. Oh, thank you for the work, Gameplay Boy. How you doing? Hope you're having a great day. And we're gonna turn this up now. We're gonna listen. We're gonna react, and I will not be live at 5 p.m. tonight. This is gonna be my stream for today, because this is gonna take a couple hours.
Different items for different combat. Like, oh, I'm putting this on.
And then we will literally just discuss what we've seen.
Changing. You never know how players are going to take that, and be creative with it. Well.
I hope you don't mind that I'm eating on
I
camera
think
here.
shortening that
Because
moment
I
and
am
finding
hungry
something to
and
using it is
I got
really
food.
good thing to do it's good for the endorphins, right? Like,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, some of the I think more successful leagues are those ones that have the shorter gap between the content you're doing and then the reward you're getting for it. Whereas the reward that comes a long time down the line after a lot of stuff is realized, that's a lot harder for a lot of people to engage with quite as much, I think. So that kind of brings me.
We are in the pre-show.
Path of Exile 2 stuff today. Towards the end of the keynote, there'll also be the reveal of the next Path of Exile 1 League, and it might be the last ever Path of Exile 1 League. I don't know if they're going to do more after this, because there'll be the beta for PoE 2. All focus will be on that. After the beta's out, are we really going to be yeah, let's go play the PoE 1 League again?
Going to be a beta.
Well, that's.
Whatever.
Whoa.
What do you know, Siki?
I mean, I don't know anything.
Spoilers.
I really
Well,
don't
so-
this time. Everybody always.
Okay, so we'll see what the last Path of Exile 1
You're the
League
inside
is going to
man.
be.
They bounce ideas off of you. They,
I
Go through
really
it now.
wanted to know
Possibly.
nothing for this, and I was
Yeah.
super glad that they did not spoil almost anything for me, so that I could go into this completely blind, because I want to be here with all you guys.
Yeah, we
seeing
were
this
in
stuff for
the
first time.
back room, and they were doing stage checks, and we were just like, la, 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 we can't see anything.
Yeah, there was something on the TV there. We're like, no, I don't want to see it. Yeah, we all saw one word, and we're like, no.
I'm looking
no,
forward to
no,
Path
no,
of
it wasn't
Exile
in our
2.
mind.
Honestly.
Yeah, no, it's erased from my mind as best I can.
What I can say is that I did not predict that.
That word.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that one
I
caught me
did
off
not
guard.
predict that.
Oh,
Yeah, that was one. Yeah.
How's everyone's
Let's get
Friday
away from
going
that.
while we're waiting
What
for
would you
this to
guys like to
start?
see out of it if it was a final Path of Exile League? It might not be. They might be doing more, but
Yeah. I mean, I still think it's going to be a big one. I've had lots of people say, oh, they're probably just waiting for PoE 2 and not necessarily going to do anything still big in PoE 1 or leagues and stuff. I think it's going to be a big one. And as always, they're trying to reinvent the ARPG genre to some extent, bring in aspects from other games. And what games I've been playing that are, I think, pretty popular at the moment are these sorts of...
I know what you're going to say. Survivors.
Exactly. I call them like reverse bullet hell, right?
Yeah, the bullet heavens.
Yeah, something like that. So like a Vampire Survivor thing. And I think they at some point, very
Wouldn't that
early
be
into the
something
game,
if they
touched
took
on
something
like
out of
this, which is
E-Rising
the,
and made that in
Florence
the league?
Trial map. So that's a unique map, and it's basically just slaying waves of monsters, right? But it's very old, very dated, and I could see that they could definitely capitalize on that hype and sort of
I could see that,
an
mate.
entire league where you just
If they reveal that
slaughter it.
now, everyone's going to be very...
Oh, I hope I didn't. Yeah. I'll take credit for predictive by all means, but I think that could be a really fun league mechanic for just satisfaction.
Imagine if they just do Farm Build 2.
Of action RPGs in general. It's like just take a lot of action RPG, kind of strip them down to like the very base of kill monster, get upgrade.
Yeah.
And it would blend well, I think. And we've seen a little bit of like sampling from other genres.
Sorry
We saw
for that. I
we saw
didn't
roguelike
realize it would
action
go dark
recently.
when I
It was-
tapped out.
And
cool.
and yeah, it just seems like they see what's hot out there right now. How can we bring it to this game? And a lot of the time, it
Chat, what do you
feels like
guys
it
think
comes
they're
out
going
of
to do
nowhere
for
this
Path of
game, and it
Exile?
works. Sometimes I feel like it
Two.
doesn't always work, but it's good. It's worth a try. And
And then the Path of
experiment.
Exile.
But this one, I think that type of mechanic and system would be great. And who knows? Innovation is
Meh.
their strong suit.
I'm definitely here for that one. But that's one route they could go. Do you guys have any other thoughts of a different route they could go, maybe?
Sure.
Yeah.
Fixed trading, bring back Harvest, auction house.
Path of Exile Copium.
Path of Exile
Did you
Copium.
installing harder in PoE 1 than we have on this keynote? Yeah, no, I'm just hoping for big bosses and a big wrap up to the story. Again, the thing we're seeing behind us, you know, it is a little bit of a possibly an ascended Xana-like creature. I don't quite know how that works out lore-wise. Maps are timeless, all this sort of
I
stuff.
love Path of
I
Exile.
think, they might be
Like,
going big.
Path
I remember
of
last
Exile
time it
got me
was,
into enjoying these
Metamorph,
Diablo-style
and it was met
games.
with Conquerors of the Atlas as well, so that was a pretty good combo.
Yeah.
Definitely a very enjoyable league.
Conqueror's sick.
Hopefully no picking up of organs this time.
Okay. Automatically picking up
I'm gonna
organs.
call him out right now.
I'll
Oh, yeah, we're
definitely
getting-
pick up
'cause we're
the
reacting
Path of
later
Exile
on
2
what
Yeah.
we're gonna be seeing.
beta.
Okay. we
If
can
they
call
give
him
it free access. Even if they don't, I
What
may.
about you, Nugi?
Depending on the
Ooh,
price,
it's a
get
tough
it.
one.
But
I mean,
we'll
a
see.
big wrap up would make sense if it is really the last PoE 1 league.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just like Rai said earlier, blow it all up.
Blow it up.
Just blow it all up. It always works because what's left in the in the ashes. We'll see about that. Or a boat league.
I mean, that's always the other option, right?
Yep. There's
Yeah,
always a boat
and or
league.
fishing league.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had gardening. Surely we can have fishing actually at some point. And as the like final, just like a meme send off for PoE.
A fishing league would
Yeah,
be
I think
interesting.
Crystal curses the gardening league. Might have been a-
Well, yes, we know they do. Certainly.
I don't think they like that one.
I think, yeah, it's kind of the ending of an era. We're moving from PoE 1 to PoE 2, and
Yeah.
we're jumping forwards in time significantly. We're not getting a whole new world, but we are getting propelled forwards into the future and maybe exploring new lands. So it
Yeah,
basically is.
I
a whole new
just
world in
checking
one
my
sense.
things.
So,
Very
some sort of
confident.
Extreme
send-off.
health and
I would love it,
everything.
even if it's just a little thing, just some little send-off incorporated into the league or into the game, or maybe if they're doing some sort of like update to the end game, something like that, you can couple that with like something a little bit of a teaser of what's happening in the end game when PoE 2 comes out as well, because we've had some invasions from otherworldly entities recently, and that's certainly been hinting and leaning towards an extension of that. So there's going to be two kind of new storylines getting explored here, both Path of Exile 2 and its campaign.
Imagine if they
storyline,
go
but also
time travel.
what's happening with the end game? What is the Maven heralding forwards for us? You guys have any thoughts on that?
Imagine if they go last epoch
I
and
mean,
go time
not
travel.
really. Like, how much bigger can you go? It's
I know,
already-
right?
Like, we're already cosmic. Like, you start out on the beach and you got a driftwood club, right? And then you're slaying the cosmic entities from.
Well, that's what I think is rather interesting, is that we have Path of Exile 1 got really big, maybe too big, killing all the gods.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like the storytelling thing is like, you get to that point and it's like, okay, you got to kind of pull it back a little bit. And it looks like we might be going a little bit more humble, a little bit more grounded for the start for PoE 2, and I think that's
You
really cool.
think?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh,
So,
man.
and PoE
Yeah.
2, like being able to pull down to something more of a grounded story, something a little grittier maybe, a little bit less crazy over the top, and then contrasting that maybe with the end game being a different thing, because they've always been a little bit separate, right? Like you have the story of the campaign, and then you get into endgame, and then it's its own separate story that's evolved separately and along a different timeline. With some
I've
weird
never
wacky stuff
gotten
when you
to
start to think about
Endgame,
which
so I don't
exiles were
know.
where
I
and
wanna
which
get to
exiles we're
Endgame.
playing now, and which exiles we're playing before, and how they incorporated the story. It's kind of like a wild system
At some
that
point.
is difficult to explain to non-PoE players, perhaps.
I
I
can
mean,
fully
even
expect,
two PoE players, it's difficult. to
Oh,
explain.
yeah. I can fully expect a new world and everything. Just, oh well, if they kind of close it off in a way with a big bang, maybe it's like kind of a reset, and then we keep going further and further. I'm kind of hoping for that, because you were speaking very confidently about the beta and maybe no new world. Maybe we're gonna do an invasion on the world of wherever Maven's from and all that. I would love to see that big, mighty boss battles. I think PoE has been doing really well with that, and they're ramping it up every time. So the more of that, the better. Because it used to be a little bit disjointed too. You know, back in the day, it was like. Oh, you could do this boss or you could not, but
Path of
now
Exile 3,
they're
if they ever
tying
do
it
that,
into the main gameplay,
that
and
will be
I
interesting to see what
really
they
love
do.
that. I think it's really great.
Yeah, I think bossing has been getting better and better, and those like
Whatever the
spectacular
leap
moments of those
from
big
1
boss
to 2
fights have
will be.
become both the thing that propels you forwards in chunks through the game and through the end game, and then also the big goals too, like to take on these various bosses and the uber bosses behind them. We have so much there in Path of Exile, and that's been getting better and better. And from what we've seen in the past, the bosses in Path of Exile 2 campaign look awesome. Like the previous demo, like the Devourer and those very boss fights that look like more interesting arenas, more interesting fights, and that's something I hope to see.
So yeah,
today.
I'm
Hopefully, is, like,
excited
cool
to
boss
watch
fights. I know
this.
We've got, like,
Let's see.
30 minutes or something of gameplay time live on stage, so...
Spoiler.
Yeah.
30 minutes of gameplay? That's
Difficult
cool.
gameplay, right?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
they've ramped it up.
You were mentioning, Rise, you had heard something about that.
Yeah, the difficulty is supposed to be through the roof. So if you're a player that's a little bit concerned about what you're going to be seeing here, if you're a father of 17 children and you've got the dishes to do and you can only play 20 minutes a month, I think don't worry about it too much. I think there's going to be plenty of gameplay for everybody.
Yeah, you won't run out anytime soon in that
Yeah.
situation.
I think so. Well, I hope so.
Any, we're almost to wrap up.
I'd
time and
love
moving
to
over
see
the
them
main stage, but
incorporate
any final
Razer
thoughts
Chroma
that you guys want to throw in?
support.
Anything you hope to see or anything like that? We've got 2 minutes.
I don't
to-
know if they will, but
You throw it
that
to
would be
me?
cool.
Yep.
Yeah, mate.
Final
see.
thoughts. I just want to see passion.
Yeah.
I just want to see passion and just people just giving us everything they've been building. It's predictions. I really at this point I just don't know.
Yeah. that's
Maybe
right.
an MTX. I would like to see a toucan.
Huh?
You know?
Toucan.
Yeah, that would be nice.
What about you, Maple?
I will just love to see a nervous Chris Wilson up on stage.
Yes.
Like, for as much nerves as I'm having right now, like doing this sort of thing and waiting for the reveal, it pales in comparison.
This
to
reveal's
getting
gonna
on
be
stage
dope.
and revealing everything for
Whatever
the
it's
past
gonna
few
be.
years, and just seeing someone so excited about their game.
Yeah,
I
know
love
they're
the
all,
art
like, super
style.
excited, but also
What
super
do
nervous.
you
I saw a
guys
lot
think of
them
Path of Exile,
before,
chat?
And, yeah, you can.
Those who have
you can
played
feel
it.
that excitement. Rise, any closing thoughts, mate? Before we sprint over so we get our seats.
Yeah, absolutely, Dad. I mean, everybody from the GGG side has felt really, really excited. We were trying to get them drunk at some of the parties. They weren't having it. They're well trained.
No spoilers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really, they weren't giving us anything.
No, that's good. They were more so than last time, even. Also,
Yeah.
I've got to remind you, folks, if you're watching live on Twitch, don't forget to connect your Twitch and Path of Exile account so you can get drops access to. Was there like a cool hideout or something like that, or do we only get that? I don't know if I'm
I
teasing.
think there was
people.
some really nice wings and
Yeah.
a portal.
Yeah, great.
I think so. But yeah, they look really good, those drops.
Wings and a
Yeah, so make
portal
sure you
on
hit that up.
Twitch
We're
drops, which
Just
I am
about to go
watching
over
on
to the
another
live
tab.
stage, and I can't wait to see what we're going to see from Path of Exile 2 and Path of Exile 1. It's been very exciting. Thanks for hanging out with us for the Stall cast. I'm Ziggy D with Mathel, Rise, and Noogie. We'll sprint back over here just after the keynote is finished. There is not much time left, so we'll see you fine folks over there. in
So
just
yeah,
a
this
moment.
is
Thank you very much.
probably going to be a 2-hour long keynote.
D4 bad.
E4 bad. Lol. I'm actually going to get my soundboard up because I'm probably going to be hitting the soundboard a bit. This is live from New Zealand, by the way. I have no clue what time of night it is there, but those legends get to see it live. Kinda jealous, not gonna lie. The cosplaying? Nice. This is the first time I've watched one of these chats, so this is gonna be interesting to see. Reveal. And I'm probably gonna do this every time they have one. They're getting multiple views out of me. The music in Path of Exile is good too. Here we go, boys. What I think I might do in the future, like when the new league drops, chat, is I'll have one day be Last Epoch, one day be Path of Exile. I think I can swing that. And here we go.
Hey guys, how's it going? Perry in here. And welcome to exilecon!
The first ExileCon since the pandemic.
Thank you all so much for joining
Ooh,
us here
Kriparian.
in New Zealand.
Nice.
It's quite a journey. Thank you guys for joining us online. It's going to be a fantastic show. So you guys want to learn about what's coming up in Path of Exile? Oh, you do? Yeah, me too.
Me too.
Well, before we get to the people that are best to deliver that information, before we get into Path of Exile's wonderful future, let's take a moment to go over all the wonderful things we have already experienced in Path of Exile. Let's take a moment to check out Path of Exile from the past.
Okay, Path of Exile from the past, or leading up to the future. Okay.
Life is fleeting.
A worthy opponent. Go with God. Death to sin. The touch of God. Bow to
There we
the
go.
Queen, mortal. You there. Let me bend your ear for a moment. Why are you so in love?
I got a pepperoni stick from the gas station today, so. Excuse me while I eat that a little bit here.
Let me tell you.
Gaze into the abyss.
Going through all the history.
Nation have you done?
Nice look back.
Ready, exile? It is time to hunt.
Let's make history.
Afraid of the dark, exile? You should be.
My cause fuels me.
Do you remember?
Nice trailer.
You will.
It's branching exile.
Still sane, exile.
To the grove, exile. A harvest awaits. This one
That was when we were playing Farmville.
legitimate. Does the toy wish to play with me?
Your path to greatness has taken a hard turn toward a
Ultimatum lead.
Detonations incoming!
Alright.
There's no time. I've become too weak to sustain the blood crucible.
Okay.
defiance ends here, hatchling.
Another mortal wanders into my prison.
You cannot escape Baydad's gaze.
One of many.
Path of Exile 2 Act 1 trailer. Here we go. Wolves. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Nice. Okay, so trailers for all the acts. I'm liking this. Agorat trader. Great teaser. Okay. And I don't know how to pronounce these words, but we're finding out together, boys. Okay. One of the producers of the game, Chris Wilson, coming out. He looks nervous.
Hi, I'm Chris Wilson from Grinding Gear Games.
Hi, Chris. How are you? I hope you're well, man.
Welcome to exilecon 2023. It feels like just yesterday that I was here on stage at exilecon 2019 announcing Path of Exile 2. Since then, we have worked tirelessly on the content we're going to show you this weekend. To everyone here in person, thank you so much for coming out to join us. It honestly feels so good to know that people love Path of Exile so much that they fly across the world to come and celebrate it with us in person here. I really hope you have a great trip and make the most of your time in New Zealand. Our last exilecon was a magical experience, and we've tried to go above and beyond in every way this time. If you're tuning in online to watch the live stream, thanks for joining us also. I wish you could all be with us here, but to ensure you have the full exilecon experience, we have made sure to include every talk and session as part of the 2-day live stream this weekend.
Okay, nice.
Twitch drops are enabled for the live stream, but if you're here in the audience, you'll automatically get them when you redeem the microtransaction code in your swag bag, so no need to stream it from your phones while you're watching.
Nice.
You'll also receive the attendee-only exilecon 2023 hideout. We have so much to share with you this weekend, and let's just get right into Path of Exile 2. I'd like to introduce Jonathan Rogers and Mark Roberts, game directors of Path of Exile 2.
We're right into it, boys. Can you hear everything okay, chat?
Hey guys. While Chris has been running Path of Exile 1, Mark and I and over 100 other developers have been hard at work on PoE 2. And honestly, the project has become much bigger than we expected when we announced it in 2019. It's been almost 4 years since then, and so it's about time we showed you what we've been working on. Oh, hang on.
Oh, hang on. Technical difficulties, boys.
Okay. When we announced Path of Exile 2 at ExileCon 2019, we told you guys that we were releasing it as an expansion to PoE 1 and that both campaigns would be playable in the same game client with a shared endgame. But PoE 2's scope has continued to grow and grow, and it's far more than just an expansion with a new campaign. It has entirely new monsters, skills, mechanics, classes, everything you'd expect from the next generation action RPGs.
Entirely new everything. That's cool.
League content. This thing is just freaking huge. There was a point when we realized that our plan to replace PoE 1 with PoE 2 would essentially be getting rid of a game that people love for no real reason. So we made a decision. Path of Exile 1 and 2 will be separate with their own mechanics, balance, endgames, and leagues.
Okay, Path of Exile 1 and 2 will be separate.
Are available across both games. Everything you have ever purchased or will ever purchase in the future will be usable in both games unless it's hyper-specific to the content of one of them. You can't transform into a bear in PoE 1, so a reskin of your bear form isn't going to work. But you absolutely can equip the awesome armor set that you got and use all your stash tabs. So with that in mind,
okay, that's nice.
A live demo of some of the stuff we've been working on.
Live demo?
A long way. Mark here is going to man the PC. Hopefully it doesn't die. It is a live gameplay demo after all.
Oh god. So, Path of Exile 2 will be its own separate game.
Alright.
Just don't die. The Kiwi.
The gods caused all this, you know. After Oriath was destroyed, I traveled, searching for answers. Everywhere I went, the same divine devastation. It must end. I will end it. And no exile will stop me.
A witch? Okay. Witch, ranger, duelist, shadow, templar, marauder, warrior, huntress, sorceress, okay. Mercenary, a monk, a druid. I wish they had a necromancer. But those I can get behind. UI looks incredibly similar. I don't hate this. Yeah, I'm going to be streaming Path of Exile 2 on this channel. I'm just saying it now. I think you knew that, if I'm watching this. If I'm honest. $100 distinct environment? Okay. Wow, that's a lot of 1,500 passive skill trees. Wow. Jesus Christ. 6-person co-op? Nice.
This world will be reborn, no matter the cost.
Okay. That's a lot of passive skills. Like a bigger skill tree than PoE 1. Oh my lord.
All right, Mark. Your turn now. Welcome to Path of Exile 2. We'd like to start off by showing you some of the gameplay of Act 3, one of the 6 acts in PoE 2's campaign. We're starting here in the jungle depths. Act 3 is set in the ruins of the Vaal civilization, which fell thousands of years ago. Jungle has taken over their former once great cities, and we'll be exploring it using one of the 6 new character classes called the Monk.
Okay, the Monk.
In PoE 1, we had 1 character class for each of the combinations of strength, dexterity, and intelligence. When looking at the design of PoE 2, though, we realized that many of the new skills that we were trying to design just didn't really fit thematically with the existing classes that we have. Being a spellcaster with a bear form makes sense for Strength Int, but it just doesn't really sound like something a Templar would do. We realized that since we had new mechanics for every attribute combination, it actually made sense to design a new character class to explore the new themes. In PoE 2, every attribute combination has 2 classes associated with it. Strength Int has the Templar or the Druid. On Dexterity, you have the Ranger or the more spear-focused Huntress. And on Dex Int, you have the Shadow and the Monk, which Mark is playing here. Each class has its own 3 ascendancies that let you further specialize the class in a way that only that class has access to, but they both start at the same location on the passive tree. The quest rewards you offered on the 2 variants are tailored to the class, but of course, this is PoE. You can still mix and match anything to your heart's content.
Alright, I'm liking that so far. I might want to play like a sorceress or lightning build.
Looks like we've come across the
or
boss
minion,
in this area.
lightning minion,
PoE 2,
maybe.
every area of the campaign contains a boss of at least this difficulty. That's over 100 bosses to fight as you make your way through the campaign, and they all have unique mechanics.
Oh wow, that's insane. Let's see if he can beat this big sucker here. Come on, dude.
As you've been watching from Mark fighting here, you probably noticed that melee combat in PoE 2 is a very different feel than before. We've done a lot of things to add mobility to combat. Practically every melee skill in PoE 2 has some kind of movement built into it. But the Monk in particular is a melee fighter who specializes in mobility over brute strength.
Okay, mobility is a good thing. Later, bitch. Nice job.
So, as Mark has been playing, you might have noticed these blue markers over enemies. Mark has a skill equipped called Killing Palm. Whenever an enemy has a blue indicator over it, it means that the monster has low enough life to cull with Killing Palm. Successfully executing the cull will give you a power charge. This is an important skill for the monk, since many of his skills interact with power charges. One of the great things about the skill is that it has a built-in dash forward, which makes it much easier to target the skill right at the point where you need it. We've done a huge amount of work in PoE 2 to make using skills like this feel satisfying. If you're accidentally targeting slightly off the monster, the skill will automatically lock onto the cullable target, and it will even do a small amount of pathfinding around obstacles.
Oh,
You really
nice.
want to make sure that when you've got an opportunity to use the skill, nothing is going to get in your way. Once you have some power charges, you're going to need some skills to power up. A great follow-up is Falling Thunder. Falling Thunder without a power charge just creates a relatively small lightning AoE in front of you. But if you do it with power charges, it turns into a pack clearer with a large number of extra projectiles.
Nice.
One thing to notice here is that, like almost every melee skill in PoE 2, Falling Thunder has a little bit of extra movement built in, just in case you need it. Use the skill within range and you just do the flip in place. But use it at a larger range and your character will move forward while executing it, getting you into position without any time penalty. In PoE 2, you also get a short period to redirect your target. Notice how you can start the skill facing one way, then whip the mouse sideways to land the skill in a different direction?
Okay.
Now, in order to get power charges, you're going to first need to get some lower life monsters into a cullable range. You've got a few options if you want to charge right in. Whirling Assault is great. It doesn't do much damage per hit, but it covers a lot of ground. And notice how you can turn as you do it? Generally speaking, you never lose control of your character in PoE 2. If you make a turn at the right time, you can get a couple of extra hits on the monsters, getting them in range of your cull.
I like that.
Follow up with a Killing Palm and then finish off the rest of the pack with your Falling Thunder.
Combos, I can deal with that. Okay, I like the
This is the
you've always had good loading screens and great graphics.
To power their civilization.
Now this is a find. A Val ruin that hasn't been looted? I wonder why nobody's been in here before.
One useful feature we've added is the ability to call in NPCs to where you are to give you more information or help you with quest objectives, rather than always having to go back to town. In this case, we've called in Alva to find out what to do.
This mechanism. If powered with a small soul core, it could open that door. There should definitely be soul cores somewhere around here. They had to power these constructs somehow.
As Alva just said, we need to find a small soul core to open this door. Let's explore.
Get back.
If you want to shave off some life without getting too close to some of the more dangerous monsters, a great option is Wind Blast. Wind Blast also doesn't do too much damage, but it keeps enemies back. The closer they are, the farther they're pushed back, so it's a great option for keeping smaller but higher damage enemies at bay. Note that the bigger the enemy is, the less they'll be pushed back, so trying to push back some giants isn't going to be as effective.
Makes sense.
And there's the soul core. Let's get back to the door.
Okay. He's running like a bitch, alright?
Consider me impressed. I'll keep investigating in here.
Alright.
Find anything else.
Now, if you need to defeat tougher enemies, it might be time to break out some of the ice skills in the monk's arsenal. Glacial Cascade creates a wave of ice that moves slowly in front of the player. It's pretty ineffective against fast-moving monsters because most of the damage occurs right at the end of the wave, and so a lot of monsters will just walk right by it. But if you can find a way to make a monster stop at just the right place, it can be very effective. In order to do that, you're probably going to want to freeze some monsters. The monk has a few different tools to do this. A fairly simple option is to get right in the monster's face with Ice Strike. Ice Strike doesn't do too much damage at the first 2 hits, but attack 3 times in sequence and you can get off a combo that has a much higher chance to freeze. Get in there with the freeze, then roll back and finish the job with Glacial Cascade. Now, remember how Glacial Cascade is that extra damaging spike at the end? If you hit a frozen enemy with that spike, it shatters the ice on the enemy and does a devastating amount of damage. This is a really great combo against bosses, as you'll see later. Okay, and I've just been casually mentioning rolling around. Don't forget to mention that in PoE 2 we added a dodge roll to every character. Just press
Okay,
spacebar
dodge.
at any time to roll.
Okay, I like that. I like that.
There's no cooldown and no limitations.
No cooldown, no limitations. Let's fucking go.
Pathfinding in it, so you don't get stuck on anything. When you when you dodge roll, you're not invulnerable. If something hits you, you're going to feel it. But most things aren't going to hit you, and that's because while you're rolling, projectiles and melee strikes will always miss. You'll have to roll out of the way of a slam that has AoE, but anyone swinging a sword or throwing a fireball is going to miss. Now, another important function of dodge roll is it lets you cancel out of any skill at any time. This makes it so you don't feel like you're getting stuck during a long animation when something's about to hit you. It really changes how skills with longer attack and cast times play, and makes dodge roll a very reliable feeling way to avoid attacks. So, that's one way to get out of the way of damage, but the monk specializes in mobility, so it makes sense that he would have some more. Wave of Frost is one of our new attacks with a retreat built right in. You can throw out a cold attack with a significant freeze. A great thing about this is that it puts you at a good distance to follow up with a glacial cascade and do a whole pile of damage.
Alrighty. Honestly, I'm liking the monk so far. I'm not going to play the monk, but seeing the new mechanics, the dodge thing is awesome to see. They finally added that. I'm probably going to play a sorcerer when I play this. And try to do like a minion build. Because I'm assuming you can do minion builds.
Shattering Palm is a palm strike that puts a small ice bomb on the target. Kill or deal enough damage to the target and the bomb will explode, doing some damage and a significant freeze. It's a great option against bosses where the wave of ice might not be enough to get that freeze off. But you still really want to use Glacial Cascade to get the damage bonus.
Okay, an ice monk.
The final skill
Interesting.
I'm going to show you today is Flicker Strike. It's a monk skill and another skill that consumes power charges. If you've played PoE 1 before, you know what to expect. It's a great finish of a tough boss fights if you were able to get some power charges beforehand.
Okay. Some power charges. Nice. Okay. Okay.
Here we have Blackjaw, former overseer of the Mechanarium. When the Val fell, he was turned to stone and now guards the area. In order to take down this boss, we're going to need all the tools in the monk's arsenal.
PoE 2 looks sick.
And Glacial Cascade. Now, if you're a PoE 1 player, you might think you can't rely on freeze because there's so many bosses that are immune to it. But in PoE 2, that's changing significantly. In PoE 1, freeze is a binary mechanic. An attack freezes the target or it doesn't. What this basically means is that in PoE 1, we were forced to add freeze immunity to many bosses because freeze just trivialized them. Because of that, freezing was something you could only really rely on while pack clearing, and not something you could use as a core part of your build for boss fighting. In PoE 2 though, all crowd control mechanics now have internal meters that allow you to build up to a freeze or stun, or whatever other CC mechanic that you're using. It's a little bit like poise from games like Elden Ring, though the meters tend to be a lot smaller than those games. When you freeze an enemy, it increases the amount of freeze you need to do to get another freeze, but the increased difficulty bleeds away slowly. More freeze will always let you freeze the boss more often, but this system means that it will not get out of control in party play or interact badly with other CC mechanics, allowing us to let these kinds of mechanics actually work against all bosses.
Okay, this boss is tough. Let's dodge. Honestly, I'm hyped for this. And I'm glad there's. Oh! F's in the chat!
What? Oh, no. All right. Let's take two. All right, so this might be a good time to mention that in PoE 2, if you die to the boss, you have to start again from the start. There's no boss cheesing.
Damn.
So, hang on. Oh, there might be a... Are you okay? Oh, 1 second. One technical issue. Just typing some cheats to... All right, we good? Back to the stream. All right. All right.
Round 2.
Let's go.
Round 2.
Whoever balanced that, like, come on. Oh, look.
And he beat it. And he beat the boss. Or is he gonna die again? I wonder if devs coworkers trolled him and putting in an older, tougher version of the boss. Okay. The nerves.
Get the freeze.
Come on.
Oh.
Field is being built back up. Okay. Taking some hits. Healed back up. Good, he actually learned how to use a potion.
Okay. Do the... Oh, nice.
Guy on stage is trying not to backseat the player. Nice dodge.
Give me a freeze. Come on. Oh, here we go.
He can do it. He can do it. Come on, he's got a couple more hits. Ooh! Jeez, he almost died. Ooh.
Come on. No. Get it. They're so good. There you go.
After this.
No.
No.
Get Okay. All right. Okay, there we go.
Woo!
All right.
Oh man, that was close.
All right. Second time's the charm. So, Black Draw has dropped a consumable quest item here called the Flame Core. It's a permanent +10 to Spirit. In PoE 2, we really want to make sure that you feel rewarded for exploration. It wouldn't be much good if we made all these awesome optional bosses if we didn't have something great to find for killing them. One of the things you might find for killing a boss is permanent stat bonuses for your character.
Eh?
I wonder what Spirit does.
All right, now because this random area is different, Mark will have to find his way to the exit the hard way.
This is, because I died, this is no longer rehearsed at all.
All right.
Eh?
Face your demise.
Okay.
No.
Oh.
Just gonna go around this way.
Need to use those killing palms more often, Mark.
Your fate is sealed.
You can tell he's on the struggle bus here.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Ooh! Oh, you know the guy's going to be getting a lot of shit after this.
Lightning strike.
Like, come on, you're better than this, dude.
I think you got completely lost there.
I have no idea where I am.
All right. Yeah, there we go. All right, here we are. Here we are. Here's the exit.
So I'm gonna die to these sentinels somehow.
All right.
Goes.
Let's go right through. All right.
Woo!
All right. In order to help with the next area, we're going to call in a sorceress. I'd like to welcome Octavian to the stage, who's going to join the party with Mark, so they can play through together.
Okay, so two sorceress. This is cool.
All right, 1 second. All right. Here we go. All right. The sorceress is the new intelligence-focused character in PoE 2. While the witch focuses more on occult magic and summoning, the sorceress is themed around pure elemental destruction. Let's have a look at how she plays.
This is the largest soul core I've ever seen. With this, we could power the canal systems. But it isn't charged. There is still latent energy in this machinarium from its ancient operation. These lines in the stonework should lead to generators. You might need to find some more soul cores to spin them up, but everything looks to be in surprisingly decent condition. Maybe the golems have been maintaining it. In any case, it should still function. We'll have to remove that large core from the wall, of course, but that shouldn't be a problem.
We have some skills here you're probably going to recognize if you've played PoE 1 before, but they feel a bit different now. Spark is great in these tight passages since it bounces around. We've added a
Okay.
fierce support gem to really allow it to hit an entire room full of targets. For a more single target focused skill, Arc is a great choice. It does much more damage than the first target that you hit. Now, if you find yourself surrounded, it might be a good idea to use Ice Nova. It hits all enemies around you and slows them down with a chill. Just be careful. Getting up close and personal isn't the ideal place for a sorceress to be. She doesn't have the defenses of a more melee-oriented character. In order to help with that, though, you could use Arctic Armor. In PoE 2, Arctic Armor is a buff that builds up as you stand still. You can see the ice crystals forming around the character.
Okay.
They drop off if you walk. When monsters hit you, they take cold damage and build up to a freeze, so it's a great defense. Just be careful. You have to be standing still for a little while to get the full effect, so trying to stutter step using it isn't the best strategy. Now, Arctic Armor is an ongoing buff, but did you notice it didn't reserve any mana? How does that work? Well, we were pretty sick of the fact that in PoE 1, basically every character was playing with no mana pool, so we decided to change the way that reservation works. In PoE 2, there's a new resource called Spirit. Spirit is a dedicated resource that you can use for ongoing effects like Arctic Armor, Heralds, Auras, and Minions.
Okay. I like that.
Everyone starts with 100 Spirit, which is enough for most ongoing effects. But if you want more, you're going to need to get some more Spirit, which is available on mods from items and on the passive tree. But if you're willing to give up your offhand slot, the easiest way to get it is by holding a Scepter. Find out more about that in the items talk later on.
Okay.
Now, if you want to increase the cold damage that you're dealing, you can always use Frost Bomb. It places a bomb on the ground that reduces enemies' cold resistance while it's ticking down. It's a great opportunity to use some cold skills before it explodes. And speaking of cold skills, a great skill to use on monsters with lower cold resistance is Comet. This is a new skill in PoE 2 and it hits pretty damn hard. It costs a lot of mana and has a really long cast time, but it's worth the wait. It does a devastating amount of damage. To help you out of danger, your character moves back slightly as it casts. It's pretty hard to hit fast-moving opponents, but it's great on tougher enemies that stand still, or even a larger pack if you're further away and can predict where they're going to move. Now,
I'm
if you're
liking
not in mana
this.
casting too many of those, I guess in an emergency you could use your free-to-cast Fireball. So where did that come from, you ask? Well, this is a great opportunity to explain the way that we've changed caster weapons in PoE 2. Now, in PoE 1, caster weapons had a default melee attack that nobody used. And because they had that, they also had a bunch of attack. In PoE 2, we wanted to clean that up. So each staff now comes with a built-in free-to-cast spell.
Nice. I like that. Free to cast is great.
Just put it on and spam away to your heart's content. Now, this particular staff is the base type that you'll get right on the starting beach. So it's quite likely that you'll have outgrown it by now. So that's why we've also made a lot of staves with more utility-focused powers for casters to use. Here we have a crystal staff. It has a pretty cool built-in spell called Unleash. Using it slams your staff on the ground and will allow you to triple cast whatever you cast with your next spell. Now, of course, what you're probably going to want to use with that is something powerful, and Comet is a great option.
Oh, shit. Ooh.
You'll notice that Unleash is one of the few skills in PoE 2 with a cooldown. In general, we really try to avoid using cooldowns because we really hate the feeling that combat is just waiting to cast your next spell. But it does make sense for Unleash since it's free to cast, and it's something we want you to use situationally anyway. Now, if you're facing something tough, you might need to try out Mana Tempest. Mana Tempest creates a circle of power which your character literally hovers over the ground. While in the circle, your mana drains, but it powers up all your spells. Lightning projectiles will fork, beams will chain further, and you also do a lot more damage.
Okay. I like it. Okay, these new mechanics are cool. Okay.
No mana.
So, with all of these skills, here's a great combo to try. First, cast Frost Bomb to reduce the target's cold resistance. Then use Mana Tempest to increase your damage. Follow up with Unleash, and then triple cast Comet to do a truly insane amount of damage.
I think it just got yeeted.
The does ghost come from?
These ghosts.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
This
Whose
rare
fault
mon-
is that?
This rare monster has dropped an uncut gem, and that's a great opportunity to talk about how skill gems drop in PoE 2. Instead of dropping specific gems, you can find uncut gems. Just right-click on them and pick whatever skill you want.
Okay.
Ignore the, whoops.
Oh. Okay. That's cool.
The gem will come pre-leveled to the level of the area that dropped it, so it's a lot easier to change between skills in PoE 2. This time, I think it might be cool to grab one of our meta gems. Meta gems are skills that can have other skills socketed into them, changing how they work. In this case, we're going to select Cast on Shock.
Okay.
Now, let's equip this thing in the skill screen and choose which spell to trigger with it. I think Comet might be fun.
Okay.
Now, because Cast on Shock reserves Spirit, we'll need to first disable our Arctic Armor. We have to decide if we'd rather have the extra defense or the extra offense of the Cast on Shock using our Spark. In PoE 2, trigger gems use a system of filling up cast time on each trigger. Basically, if a skill has a short cast time, it will trigger really often. And if it has a long cast time, like this Comet here, it will take a lot longer to trigger. You can see on the top left corner, there's a counter that shows you how long until the next trigger. Hopefully you shot some monsters. There we go. And there you have it. That's using Cast on Shock. We've automatically cast Comet whenever we're using our lightning skills.
Okay.
So, we found the generator. Time to power it up. As power is restored to the Mechanarium, all the constructs are coming back to life. We'll need to fight them on the way back to the charged Soul Core. So, one thing that PoE 1 players might have noticed is this character has both lightning spells and cold spells. That's pretty inefficient, right? It's a big no-no for most builds because any specialization into cold or lightning isn't going to affect the other element. And generic elemental damage increases are not going to be as powerful as focusing on a single element. Well, in PoE 2 we have another major new system to introduce to solve these kinds of problems. And it starts, oddly enough, with weapon swap. Now, in PoE 1, weapon swap isn't really used much for its originally intended purpose. We imagine that people were going to be swapping in and out between different weapons to deal with whatever situation they were in. People just don't do that at all. And a large reason for that is because it's really, really awkward. In PoE 2, we wanted to solve all of that. The staff Octavian is using here has an ice mod on it that makes it great for when he's using his ice spells. But we would also like to be able to make sure that this build works just as well for his lightning spells. If Octavian equips his previous staff in his second weapon set, you can see that it appears on the character's back. Now, we're going to open up the skill screen. If Octavian opens the skill options for his lightning skills, you can see here that you can choose which weapon sets are usable with each skill.
Okay.
First, we unchoose set one that is used by his lightning skills.
I like
we go through
that.
his cold skills and turn those off with his lightning weapon.
Okay. So you
just take a second.
Makes sense.
Remember where they all are.
Yeah. Now, when we use Spark, the character will automatically switch to the lightning staff on his back and then use the skill. And when Octavian uses his Ice Nova, his character automatically switches to his Ice Staff before using it.
Okay, that's cool.
You can configure each skill for which set to use, or both if you don't mind which. There's a very short time penalty to switching, so it can be good to leave some skills on both sets if it doesn't matter which weapon set you're using. But we still have a problem, passives. Wouldn't it be nice if we could specialize in both cold and lightning passives on the character? Well, in PoE 2 you can.
Okay.
Hopefully Mark can deal with those monsters while we do this demo. So, we're on the passive skill screen here, and you can see that we are close to both a cold and a lightning cluster. At the top right of the screen, you can see that we have some weapon set specific points to allocate. If Octavian holds shift, he can allocate set 1 to the cold passives, and then allocate set 2 to the lightning passives.
Okay. So it's just a lot more things you can do.
Check it out. As we use our weapon swap, the skills allocate changes from one build to the other automatically.
Okay.
So whenever we cast the appropriate spell, the character's passives reconfigure on the fly to the correct build for that spell.
That's perfect.
Now, you can't do this with every single passive on your tree. Only points granted from skill books will allow this kind of dual specialization. So you're not going to be changing from a mace-slamming warrior into a fire elementalist with the press of a button. But it certainly increases the number of options you have for builds. There's a huge number of places where the system can shine. You could augment your dagger shadow build with traps, or have a great curse set up on your witch with one spec, and then move to your chaos debuff spells with the other, for example. It really opens up your options. Now, another fun meta gem to try out is called Barrier Invocation. This works a little bit like the trigger gems I talked about before, but this one charges up as your energy shield is hit by monsters. We're going to put an Ice Nova in this one. The more energy shield you lose, the more charge builds up. Let me just get that one equipped there. Yep. So yeah, the more energy shield you lose, the more charge will build up until the point you're able to cast the socketed skill instantly. There we go. So you lose some, so you lose some energy shield, and at just the right time, invoke Ice Nova to cast all the stacked up copies in one instant cast. If you keep losing shield, you'll build up even more charge for even more casts. So it's a great defensive option in an emergency.
All right.
Overkill.
And here we are back at the
liking this a lot.
All we have to do now is take it.
Just take it.
Oh God, yeah.
Alva, what the?
Oh shit.
Don't die this time, guys.
Oh no. Oh no.
Frozen? Nice.
More frozen than Elsa?
Get away from the wall. Oh god. Frozen though. Good.
Frozen, nice.
Okay.
Helps that we're both doing ice damage. Cold damage.
Honestly, I'm kind of liking this. What do you guys think, chat?
He's heavy
stunned.
Okay. Nice. Frozen? Frozen again?
Getting real lucky with those freeze procs this time.
All skill.
Nice. Frozen.
They can get it. They can get it. They can win this.
Get up, get away.
Shit.
Get away from him. Get away. Get away.
Okay.
Triangle. Oh.
You know they've played this boss times.
Charlie.
Nice.
Let's go. Get a lot of
That's
coin.
Path of Exile 2. These areas, as well as around half of each of the first 4 acts, are available to play at the 3 demo zones around ExileCon. Now, if you're physically here at this event and you get to play the demo, just remember, it's a different game than before. It's a lot harder. You're probably going to run the first pack of monsters and just die. I really recommend you read the signs. They have good advice on how to combine your skills effectively, and remember, dodge rolls on spacebar. Use it. You're just going to die otherwise. So your next question is likely to be, when is the beta? Well, we're in our last year of development, but we're still finishing acts, adding skills, and balancing everything. The closed beta is going to start on June 7th, 2024. Path of Exile 2 has been a long time coming, and we're incredibly excited
Okay,
to
so
be near the
about a
finish
year
line,
out.
but we're just not quite there yet. We're determined not to rush this and make sure we get everything right. In the meantime, there's a lot in store for PoE 1. I'll hand back over to Chris, and he's going to talk about what's coming up.
Okay, so about a year away.
Thank you very much.
That's completely fine.
So that demo was very hard for them to do in person. Like, I am very impressed it went that well. So, as Jonathan explained, Path of Exile 1 will
While
continue
this is
to be
playing,
its
I
own
gotta run to
unique
the rest.
game
I
once
will.
Path of Exile 2 comes out. We will continue to update it with expansions and leagues going forward. And because accounts and microtransactions are shared between the two games, and their expansion releases are offset from each other, it's super easy to jump between them and effectively play both if you want. So I'm going off script for a second here and just going to explain this a bit better. Imagine we release a Path of Exile 2 expansion, right? So everyone dives in and plays it. You give it, say, out of the 13-week cycle, you're going to play for, some hardcore players play for the first few weeks, some people play for most of the time. We're going to aim a Path of Exile 1 expansion to come out towards the end of that cycle, say 4 or 5 weeks from the end, which also lasts for 3 months. So because Path of Exile 2 has more content and is a significantly larger game, it will mean that you can play Path of Exile 2 for the majority of the cycle, and then either keep playing if you want to keep playing Path of Exile 2, or jump into Path of Exile 1 when its league launches and enjoy that, either for the entire period or until the next Path of Exile 2 one comes out. And of course, because your purchases are shared, if you were to buy supporter packs or microtransactions in either, they're just available on your characters in the other. Speaking of Path of Exile 1 expansions, we've got one coming out in just 3 weeks, on August 18th. Let's watch the trailer for Path of Exile, Trial of the Ancestors.
Souls such as yours do not go quietly into the night. They thirst for battle. They yearn to prove themselves. Welcome to the halls of the dead. Earn your place among us. Under Hinikora's watchful eye, test your mettle against the greatest warriors who ever lived. Prove yourself in the trial of the ancestor. In the end, only one can become champion. Will it be you?
In the Karui afterlife, the fallen chieftains of each tribe participate in a tournament called the Trial of the Ancestors. You will journey to the afterlife, assemble your own team, and enter the tournament to battle those chieftains and earn valuable rewards. As you play through areas in the Ancestor Challenge League, you'll find tradable silver coins. Using them will take you to the Karui afterlife, where you will encounter Navali, who you may remember from the Prophecy League. Each coin allows you to play a match of the tournament. You start the tournament with a basic team consisting of 3 warriors. The tournament is double elimination, meaning you're allowed to have 1 loss without consequence. A second loss eliminates you from the tournament. Your team will compete against 10 other tribes, and you choose who you're going to challenge next out of the teams left in the tournament. When you start a match, you see the configuration of the enemy team and get to place your team of warriors on the battlefield to challenge theirs. You and your party of exiles will play alongside your warriors. So while this league does have many elements of an auto-battler, you're right there fighting alongside them. During a match, when a warrior dies, they respawn at their totem after a short time. If their totem is destroyed, then they are instantly killed and can't respawn. The team that destroys all of the opposing totems wins. If you're playing a hardcore character though, don't worry. Hinokora, the goddess of death, is watching over you and will restore your soul to your body, so you can't permanently die in the afterlife. Like that. In the Trial of the Ancestors, strategy and tactics are key. Every unit has its own strengths and weaknesses that must be utilized to win matches. The turtle is really slow and really tanky. It's perfect for either defensive positioning to stop flankers or offensive positioning to tank hits for you if you're pushing through the middle. It's not great in the center or flank positions due to its slow movement speed. The Tuatara is a quick and deceptive unit, which is relatively well balanced for all positions. This version of the Tuatara has a stealth ability, which makes it perfect for the flanking position to sneak through enemy defenses and take out unprotected totems from the side. The Goliath of Night is a disruptor unit, and it's ideally placed in a center position to intercept enemies that are chasing you. You can also allocate it to defenses so that it disrupts enemies that are trying to kill your totems by stunning them. So in this match here, we've set up a Tuatara in a flanking position, a turtle on defense to guard our totems, and a Goliath to follow us as we attack up the middle. Our plan is to work with the Goliath to distract the enemy front line so the flanking Tuatara can get through and destroy some of their totems. Teamwork. Upon winning a match, you earn favor and other rewards. I'll talk about the other rewards shortly. There are a lot. You have a separate amount of favor with each tribe, and you can spend it by talking to their chieftain to recruit warriors and purchase field items and equipment that your team can use. Each tribe has specific specialities. For example, Hinokora's tribe manipulates life and death. Rongo Kurai's tribe is slow and tanky, with an emphasis on stuns and knockbacks. You can recruit warriors from many different tribes and mix and match them together into your team based on what you need. Field items are items that are placed on the battlefield and can be activated during the match to, for example, revive a warrior or heal your entire team. If a field item isn't consumed within a match, it persists on to the next match. But your warriors, their equipment, and your field items are all wiped between tournaments. You enter each tournament fresh. Your success in a tournament updates your overall ranking, which helps you in better rewards and subsequent ones. Speaking of rewards, let's discuss the good part, what you can earn for succeeding at the Trial of the Ancestors. You can tell this gets me excited. Okay. You get a reward as you win each round of the tournament, and these rewards are visible when you're selecting which tribe you want to play against. They'll help inform your decision, as some of them are regular rewards and some of them are exclusive new rewards you can only get from the Trial of the Ancestors. I'm literally tripping over my words to get to the part where I can explain tattoos. Okay. The Ancestors reward you with special tattoos that are not applied to your skin, but they're engraved on your soul. This process can transform what your attribute skills on the passive tree do, basically the attribute highway nodes generally. The regular ones can only be applied to basic attribute skills and allow you to convert your tree's attribute highways into something more useful for you. For example, this one converts a small dexterity skill into movement speed. Each tribe has its own exclusive passive tattoos. This tattoo converts a small strength skill into additional fire resistance. This one converts a small intelligence skill into additional lightning damage. And this one converts a small strength skill into one that summons a minion when you take a savage hit from a unique enemy. But don't go overboard on the number of skills you convert with tattoos, as you'll probably need at least some of your attributes left to equip items. Each of the 10 tribes has an exclusive unique item that you can earn. These rarely show up as rewards for defeating that tribe in a match. Katava's Hunger is a unique majestic plate that you can earn by defeating the Katava tribe. As you can see, it grants an immense amount of life for a single item, providing you don't have any life on any other pieces of your equipment. While this is tricky to accomplish, it also frees up all those other potential life slots to be something else that benefits your build, making it pure upside. This amulet is a unique item you can earn by defeating the Arohongui tribe. It has the powerful effect of causing your flasks to instantly recover life and mana whenever you're low. This could potentially be a powerful panic button, or maybe you want to build around permanently being on low life or mana, so all of your flask usage is instant. If you manage to win the entire tournament, you'll not only receive the reward for the final match, but Hinokoro will also give you a choice of 3 additional... Sorry, button didn't work. Of 3 additional exclusive items. Let's have a look at some of the things you may be offered. First up, there are 4 unique items that exclusively come from Hinokoro for completing the tournament. This belt, for example, lists a plethora of really powerful properties, both beneficial and detrimental. While you're wearing the belt, the property shifts around every 5 seconds. You never know what's going to happen next. Will you always crit, always evade, never evade? Maybe you're able to find some ways to build around the detrimental effects to create as much upside as possible. Hinokoro also has a selection of special, more advanced passive tree tattoos that you can only receive from her. This one transforms a 30 intelligence notable attribute skill into one that increases the level of all of your intelligence gems. You're only allowed 1 copy of the specific attribute combination tattoo on a tree. Hinokoro can also award you with a new type of item called an omen. These are small items that sit in your inventory until a condition is met, at which point they are consumed and something happens. In this case, when you reach 25% life, your flasks are all replenished. Now don't worry, each player can only consume 1 omen per combat area, so you don't have any reason to fill your entire inventory with them. This one creates a portal on death. We made it for me. It won't try to save your life, but it will save you some time. This one grants you Soul Eater when you level up. It's definitely worth carrying around for that occasional massive power boost. Omens are tradable but hard to get, so use them carefully. I shudder to think about how much this one is going to be worth in the presence of those incredibly rare unique weapons from 320. Now note, going off script again here, back in the day, when we had stuff like the Prophecy and so on that let you upgrade to rare forcibly on a specific base type, we had to block the good items by putting crap uniques on the, sorry, I meant upgrade to unique. We put crap uniques on that base type so that you couldn't get it every time. Well, we stopped doing that, so a lot of the uniques that were upgraded in 320 are just the only thing on the base type. So items like this let you deterministically get something quite valuable, hence they are quite rare. The most exciting one, though. Finally, Hinokoro can offer you a lock of her hair. This is a very special currency item that lets you foresee the result of using another currency item to craft something. This means, for example, you can know whether it's worth exalting your item because you will know exactly what the outcome is. Hinokoro's lock will slot into your crafting pipeline with powerful consequences. The Trial of the Ancestors offers a wide selection of valuable new rewards as you complete matches and tournaments. We really look forward to seeing what strategies you develop for building, equipping, carefully placing, and playing alongside your tribe. So that's the new Challenge League, but Path of Exile expansions contain more than just a new league every 3 months. In each update, we also augment Path of Exile's endgame and shift the metagame with new gems and balance changes. This expansion is no exception. I'm going to explain the other changes in a medium amount of detail. I'm conscious that we have both new and existing players. For new players, I'm going to try to include some extra content to help make the changes more understandable. You can find out all the detail in the patch notes and other information we'll be posting in the few weeks before release. Let's start with how the Trial of the Ancestors expansion expands Path of Exile's endgame. In December last year, we released an expansion called The Forbidden Sanctum, which introduced the Sanctum Challenge League. This league was a roguelike game set within Path of Exile where you would randomly explore a randomly generated sanctum 1 room at a time, alongside your regular play. You'd pick which rooms you wanted to explore out of several options and accumulate beneficial boons and detrimental afflictions that made your run easier and harder, respectively. Not only did Sanctum work really well as a league, but it also had the potential to be added to Path of Exile as part of its core endgame content, alongside systems like mapping, delve, and heist. Well, in this expansion, the Forbidden Sanctum is back. I've really been looking forward to this one. We're reintroducing the Sanctum as core content in Path of Exile's endgame. You'll initially meet Divinia, the Sanctum NPC, in Act 10. Sanctums are now tradable items that you can find while playing maps in the endgame. A forbidden tome represents a whole floor of the Sanctum, and its rooms can be played back to back, or you can take breaks between them and do something else if you choose. Upon successfully completing that Sanctum floor, the next floor is generated as a tradable item with all of the state of your Sanctum run built in. This means that the item stores what boons and afflictions you had, what rewards you've locked in, and how much resolve you have left. You can then either play this floor or trade it to someone else if it feels more beneficial. For example, Let's say you manage to lock in a really valuable reward. The example here is a mirror of Calandra, but you'll also notice that, do I have a laser pointer? It doesn't work on the board. Okay, one resolve. This is an example here where the player has a very good reward locked in, but a massive pile of dangerous afflictions and only one resolve on them. If you don't feel capable of completing the rest of the Sanctum from this point, then it would normally be a write-off, right? If you gave this to me, no way am I getting that mirror. But you can now trade the Sanctum state to someone else who is willing to pay for the chance to earn the mirror, or lose it. And you can look at expected value in economics, right? It's worth some percentage of that mirror, so you trade it for like 5 chaos to someone, they run it and lose their chaos. Your relics, which act as passive bonuses within the Sanctum, are locked in for the run when you start the first floor and can't be changed for the rest of the run. Speaking of relics, they're now tradable and have been rebalanced around this. To those of you wondering, we have decided against bringing back sanctified relics for now. A complete Sanctum run now requires killing the final boss, Lycia, in both her first and second form. She will always drop a unique relic, and these have been reworked and replaced as we rebalanced everything. An important aspect of the new Sanctum balance is that your primary defenses now have some effect on protecting your resolve. Your armor allows you to mitigate resolve loss, and your evasion grants you a chance to avoid resolve loss entirely, a lot like how armor and evasion work. Your energy shield grants you resolve Aegis, which is a mechanic that works similarly to how energy shield behaves for life. In light of the new defensive opportunities and learnings from the original Challenge League, we've rebalanced the difficulty of Sanctum, especially in later floors, and have worked to add more monster and room variety to runs. We've added new boons and afflictions themed around the new defensive mechanics and have rebalanced many of the other ones. Like other optional endgame systems that involve tradable items, players who don't want to play Sanctum can trade their Sanctums to other players in exchange for an item or currency that benefits them more. Successful Sanctum play can generate a lot of rewards. It'll potentially be possible to build characters dedicated to Sanctum running and just farm Sanctums repeatedly in order to profit. Sanctum isn't the only improvement that Trial of the Ancestors brings to Path of Exile's endgame. We're also introducing 16 new Atlas Keystone passives to the Atlas passive tree. As a quick summary for new players joining us, the Atlas tree is a system that allows you to customize your endgame experience in Path of Exile. As you complete different maps, you gain skill points that can be allocated in the tree. You could use these points to modify the behavior of different content you encounter in endgame maps to make it more difficult or more rewarding, or to behave entirely differently. The system allows you to double down on the content you enjoy and avoid content you don't. Keystones are really impactful passives that totally change how endgame systems behave. Usually they have an element of give and take and require you to come up with new strategies to take advantage of them. Each of these 16 new Atlas Keystones changes how you might interact with Path of Exile's endgame. Let's have a look at some of them now. We will reveal the rest of them before the release of Trial of the Ancestors in a few weeks. Extreme Archaeology completely changes how you play expedition encounters. Instead of placing a series of regular explosives, you now place one gigantic explosive. Every single chest or monster in the blast radius is affected by every remnant in that radius. Speaker of the Dead makes it so that tormented spirits can possess you rather than possessing monsters, boosting your stats instead. While possessed, you can touch monsters just like a spirit can, making them stronger and more rewarding. It's kind of getting silly at this point, isn't it? Blight is like a tower defense minigame inside Path of Exile. The Cassia's Pride Keystone makes it so that Blight monsters take significantly less damage from players and significantly more damage from Blight towers. This basically lets you go all in playing it like an actual tower defense game. Because we can. Lucid Dreams makes it so that Val's side areas in your maps are no longer corrupted, meaning that you can use currency items to change their mods. That's right, when you encounter a Val side area, the Keystone lets you craft it. Yeah, so we rebalanced the side area mods, we've improved reward outcomes, and we've made the downside mods a bit more punishing, just to make it interesting if you try to go for the good outcomes. You may also rarely encounter a unique Val side area. Destructive play makes it so that the Maven will summon between 1 and 3 extra random map bosses when you are fighting witnessed map bosses. This keystone is analogous to the Eldritch Altar keystones that make those influences more difficult but more rewarding. There are another 11 new keystones that we'll reveal over the next few weeks. Together, these 16 keystones mean that regardless of how you enjoy your maps, you'll have plenty of new ways to play Path of Exile's endgame in this expansion. And I should note, in the initial draft of the keynote, I painstakingly went through every single keystone. It took like 10 minutes. But we'll put them in the news to save you some time here. In the Trial of the Ancestors expansion, we're shifting Path of Exile's metagame in several ways. The first is by introducing 14 new support gems, which are designed to take existing categories of skills and provide entirely new ways to play them. For full information, check the final gem hovers when we post them in the next few weeks. Let's have a look at a handful of these support gems now. In Path of Exile, war cries usually buff your party but don't directly hurt monsters. The Corrupting Cry support gem turns war cries into damage-dealing skills by making them inflict corrupted blood on monsters affected by the war cry or by your attacks that it exerts. The Returning Projectiles support gem causes projectiles from supported skills to return to you, piercing all targets but dealing a little less damage. I think there's another example too. The Fresh Meat support gem causes minions created by supported gems to gain adrenaline, critical strike chance, and critical strike damage for a duration after they're first summoned. So you've got to work out a way to keep refreshing your minions, and it makes them a lot more powerful. The Flamewood support gem causes totems to trigger projectile mortars at enemies that hit them. This is particularly synergistic with totems that can taunt enemies, such as Decoy Totem, or one of the new Chieftain Ascendancy skills that I might talk about shortly. The Sacrifice support gem works on spells that you either cast yourself or through totems. These spells now sacrifice a percentage of your current life or the totem's life to gain additional chaos damage based on how much life was sacrificed. The Frigid Bond support gem affects link skills and causes a cold mist to come over them. Enemies caught in the beam are chilled and dealt cold damage over time. This creates a new tool for a cold damage over time build requiring strategic placement of both yourself and your linked ally. I mentioned it was going to get silly. The Locust Mine support gem looks OP and affects attack skills that use bows and wands. Instead of directly using the supported skill, you throw mines in an arc that use that skill for you, targeting your location when you detonate them. In addition to these gems, there are another 7 that we'll be revealing over the next few weeks. In addition to the 14 new support gems, our balance work for the Trial of the Ancestors involved us revamping 2 Ascendancy classes. These are the subclasses that you can specialize in as you play through Path of Exile's campaign. Each main character class has 3 Ascendancy classes available. In the last expansion, Crucible, we overhaul the Pathfinder and Saboteur. This time, it's the Guardian and Chieftain, which are specializations of the Templar and Marauder, respectively. While we were very happy with the theme of the Guardian, it was falling behind the power level and popularity of other Ascendancy classes. Our changes in this expansion have modernized the class and will present you with more relevant build opportunities than before. Brace yourself. Okay. Path of Exile 102. Harmony of Purpose can power up parties using link skills. Time of Need now completely cleanses and heals you every 4 seconds. Radiant and Unwavering Crusade both fully embrace the Holy Summoner theme by giving you access to some exciting new types of minions that are exclusive to this Ascendancy class. We have this picture on the announcement page, pathofexile.com/ancestor, for you to scrutinize. Next. While the Guardian's revamp was similar to that of the Pathfinder, the Chieftain has received the Saboteur treatment. To be honest, we were unhappy about many aspects of this Ascendancy class in its old form, and so we have completely redesigned it. You can play it now. It's basically an entirely new Ascendancy class with the same name and art and a new way of approaching its themes. Its new skills let you, among other things, cause enemies to explode, turn off enemies' fire resistance while you're stationary, convert passive skills to apply to fire damage, and have your fire resistances apply to your cold and lightning resistances. I'll just give you a sec more to read. All right, that's on the site too for you to check out. It's pretty powerful now. To celebrate the release of the Trial of the Ancestors, we'll be hosting a boss kill event. To enter, create a hardcore solo self-found character in the Ancestor League and race to kill all 7 Uber Pinnacle bosses on the same character. Note that unlike the last event we ran, this one is not a ruthless event. We'll post more information about the event and its prizes in the news before release. Best of luck to everyone. For the Ancestor Challenge League, we're launching 2 new series of supporter packs, the Shade and Disciple packs. Each tier contains the pack's full face value and points, alongside several exclusive microtransactions. These packs are only available for the duration of the Ancestor League and will leave the store forever when it ends. As always, the microtransactions in these packs are purely cosmetic and do not affect the character's power or progression in any way, despite how cool they look. The Shade series of supporter packs contains 6 exclusive microtransactions. All right, the sarcophagus back attachment imprisons an unspeakable evil that struggles to break free. Nearby monsters send it into a frenzy, and enemy deaths provide it with souls to feast upon. The Stygian Waypoint shackles visitors to your hideout in chains, yourself included. These chains are just cosmetic though, and they break as soon as you move. It would supposedly be a gameplay advantage to be able to imprison people. The Ferryman's armor set is so full of trapped souls that some of them try to escape. Moving while wearing the boots will leave souls in your wake trying to break free. The Infernal Portal opens a gate to the Netherrealm when you approach. This prompted a lot of internal discussion about whether using Hellfire to heat your hideout is actually safe and practical. The Demon-bound crafting bench allows you to enslave a malevolent entity to craft items for you. Be warned, it has a sharp tongue and will mock you mercilessly.
You chained me for such a paltry use?
The Nebula character effect causes items you pick up to orbit you in an ethereal cloud of loot. The Disciple series of supporter packs also contains 6 exclusive microtransactions. Look at dog. I'm going to put that in the top pack. The Hero's Landing finisher effect summons a marble statue from the heavens to execute unique monsters you defeat. You decide whether it's the sword or the huge lump of rock that actually kills them. The Bell Tower map device heralds the opening of a new map with a peal of bells. Start to run out of portals though, and it will reflect your desperate situation. This is fine. The Cathedral armor set refracts light through your character, creating beautiful patterns on the ground around it. If your life gets low, it responds in kind. The Observer Diamond Flask summons a tentacled mass that fires its eye lasers at enemies you critically strike while the flask is active. Again, cosmetic. The Currency Orb Charge effect lets you pick from a number of different currency types to replace your charges with, as long as you've used that currency item anytime from today onwards. Some people... We have to store it in the database, right? Some people will show they can be part of the exclusive club of players who have actually used a Mirror of Calandra. This effect also causes your charges to display in town. So the theory is you go use your standard mirror, which we all have, right? The Faithful Hound Pet is a very good doggo, and it knows a few tricks. You can command it to sit, roll over, or play dead. And yes, you can pet the dog. These new packs are available right now at pathofexile.com/purchase, and purchases like these directly fund the ongoing development of Path of Exile 1 and 2. Meanwhile, the Lithomancer and Enchanter packs leave the store forever at the launch of Trial of the Ancestors, so now's your last chance to purchase them. There's some good stuff in those too. Thanks for your continued support. The fun part. For the last ExileCon, we developed a special card game that encapsulated the full gameplay arc of Path of Exile over the course of the event. Players could defeat monsters, progressively upgrade their items, use currency items to craft their equipment, find and run maps, and eventually defeat pinnacle bosses to earn rewards. It was a whole lot of fun, and we've had so many requests to run it again. So this year, we're proud to bring you the 2023 version of the exilecon card game. And like all Path of Exile expansions, it even includes a challenge league. In your swag bags, you'll have found a box of exilecon cards, and then a gentleman outside will have asked to purchase them from you for real money. If you have any cards left, you can use these to challenge GGG staff members who are walking around exilecon as monsters. They'll be wearing t-shirts showing the monster's stats, which include symbols for their attack and defense. Using the cards in your deck box and those you accumulate by defeating monsters, put together one set of armor, one weapon and shield, or a two-handed weapon, and an amulet and 2 rings. To defeat a monster, the damage on your weapon has to be equal to or larger than the defense of the monster, and the defense on the armor and shield have to be equal to or larger than the attack of the monster. It's that simple. There are some wildcard symbols. It's explained on the rules in the box. Rings and amulets are pretty hard to find, and they can be used for either attack or defense. So to attack a monster, politely approach a staff member wearing the shirt, introduce yourself, and show them the set of equipment you want to use. If your symbols match, then you'll have defeated them, and they'll give you a reward and remove some of the durability from your items. They do this by clicking the card, so if you want to keep the card pristine, don't necessarily attack someone with it. It will get damaged in combat. Be careful not to waste your best items on low-level monsters. You're not allowed to attack the same monster twice in a row, so you need to explore exilecon to find different GGG staff members. You can get maps by defeating monsters marked as gods. Take these maps to the map device to run them and progress through the tiers. On the back of the box is a list of quests. As you complete quests, you can visit the crafting bench on the top floor to receive rewards for completing those quests. While you're there, you can also use your currency items to modify your equipment. I mentioned that this year's version of the card game introduced a challenge league. That league is Delve. Accumulate sulfite and bring it to the Delve wall, sorry for the bad photo, it's hard with lighting, on the middle floor. Each sulfite card you hand in allows you to explore one tile of the Azurite mine. You'll all be working collaboratively throughout the event to delve deep into the mine, fight the monsters that lurk there, and uncover its treasures. And I feel really bad for the poor people that had to hang 3,000 cards on that wall. You may eventually be able to challenge the pinnacle bosses if you manage to get really far in the card game. I'm the Searing Exarch, Jonathan is the Eater of Worlds, and Mark is the Maven. Defeating any of the 3 of us will reward you with a Mirror of Calandra enamel pin. This pin is exclusively available for winning the card game and won't be sold in the merchandise shop. Each person can only receive a maximum of 2 mirrors, and when they run out, we can't give any more out, so try to win the game early. The reason for 2 is a very typical Path of Exile reason, 1 for you and 1 to trade. All right, it's almost time to go and experience exilecon 2023. Aside from the card game, we've prepared a full weekend of activities for you. There's a busy roster of talks and interviews on the main stage and the streamer stage. We've posted a schedule at pathofexile.com/exilecon, so you can see what is happening when and where. The schedule also includes information on meet and greet sessions. Our special guests this year include a roster of many of your favorite streamers, but also some game development industry friends we've met over the last 16 years. We're proud to once again welcome the creators of the Diablo series, David Brevik, Max Schaefer, and Eric Schaefer, as well as Travis Baldry, who you may know from Fate, Torchlight, and his popular fantasy books, or even the books he's narrated. They'll not only have meet and greet sessions, but are also participating in an action RPG roundtable discussion alongside me and Eric tomorrow on the stage. In all of the developer talks and panels, exilecon attendees will be able to scan a QR code on their phone to submit questions for the speakers to discuss in the panel or on the Q&A section of the talk. The Path of Exile 2 exilecon demo is a large one, and you may want to play it multiple times this weekend. In each session, you can pick from one of 4 character classes, which start at various points throughout the first 4 acts of Path of Exile 2's campaign. Around half of each act is included in the demo, and your session time is limited to 45 minutes before you have to let someone else have a turn. Remember, as Jonathan said earlier, this demo is hard. Read the signs that explain how your skills combine together. Dodge roll is your new friend. You should also swing by the Path of Exile mobile demo at the chill out area on the top floor and check out its progress. It's coming along really well, and we'd love to get your feedback on it. We've created heaps of new Path of Exile merchandise, which is available at our merchandise shop on the middle floor. We've made 17 new t-shirts, which include a few from our community t-shirt design competition. We've created a range of 24 enamel pins. You'll have found a random one in your swag bag. If you approach me and I'm wearing a pin, feel free to swap for the one you've got if you'd like. Happy to trade. You can purchase the others in the shop. As mentioned before, there's also the super exclusive Mirror of Calandra pin that is only available to winners of the card game. Maybe you're able to trade for a full set. There are two new posters. One is the Atlas passive tree, and the other is the periodic table of currency. In addition to reprinting the incredibly popular Celestial Cat socks, we've also introduced the Chaos Orb socks, better for business meetings. There's also a range of 4 desk pads to keep your play area tidy. You can check them out at the demo zone. We have a limited range of exilecon 2019 merchandise available in the store as well. Make sure to hit it up early if you want some of this, because stocks of the older items are quite limited. We have plenty of new merchandise for everyone, though, and I think I might have underestimated that. The exilecon livestream concludes tomorrow with our grand racing finale, where 4 players compete for up to $10,000 and the title of exilecon 2023 Racing Champion. Afterwards, we're hosting an after party at 8 p.m. at the venue. If you're watching from home, please note that because there are multiple things going on at the same time here, and we can only stream one of them live, we'll be restreaming 3 of today's talks tomorrow before the event starts. So to be clear, they're occurring here, people can watch them in person, but you can't watch them at that time because we're streaming something else. So we're going to restream those tomorrow in the 3 hours where it's way too early to do it in New Zealand, but you can watch them online from the States and Europe. This makes sure that everyone is fully up to date on all of the talks that have been announced about Path of Exile 2 before the important Q&A in the morning where you get to ask the important questions. If you missed out on attending exilecon this year, we'll be at Gamescom in Germany in August and PAX West in Seattle in September. At both shows, the Path of Exile 2 booth will have our exilecon demo available to play and a small team of Grindinger Games developers, including me and Jonathan, to chat to, and we hope to see you there. Thanks so much for joining us this weekend at exilecon 2023. Have a great show, everyone.